boys and girls. Welcome to Sunday School. Today our story comes from the book of Luke, chapter 13, verses 18 through 21. And there's the story of the mustard seed and the yeast. And I'm going to be reading from the International Children's Bible. So hear these words. Then Jesus said, "What is God's kingdom like? What can I compare it with? God's kingdom is like the seed of the mustard plant. A man plants this seed in his garden, and the seed grows and becomes a tree, and the wild birds build nests on its branches." Jesus said again, "What can I compare God's kingdom with? It is like yeast that a woman mixes into a big bowl of flour, and the yeast makes all of the dough rise." Now, boys and girls, these stories tell us something about God's kingdom. That even the smallest person doing one small act of kindness can make a big difference in helping to reflect God's kingdom here on earth. Jesus uses these two stories about everyday things to teach his listeners about how God's kingdom grows. The key in these stories is what the person does with the item. The seed gets planted. Mustard plants are kind of like weeds. You plant one and they quickly take over the field. Those shrubs then provide shelter for lots of creatures. And the yeast is mixed into the flour, and the result is that all of the dough rises. It gets bigger. It grows. Well, God takes even our smallest acts of love and multiplies them abundantly. God's kingdom is unstoppable. Let's check in with Carly and see what she's wondering about these stories.
Greetings, everyone. It's Carly. Have you ever thought about how a forest becomes a forest? Did trees just jump out of the ground from nowhere? How do so many large and amazing trees grow and keep growing throughout time? Here's the amazing thing. Every forest started from just one tiny seed. In the scripture today, Jesus is talking about God's kingdom. Instead of talking about big mansions, mountains, or other huge things, Jesus says God's kingdom is like a mustard seed, like this one. Can you see it? Look a little closer. A mustard seed is so tiny, even though it's tiny, when it's planted, it can grow into something much bigger. Remember, if one seed grows into one tree, eventually we can have a forest. Just like one act of kindness can grow into something much bigger. You never know if someone is having a bad day or not. You can be the reason it gets a little bit better. There are so many things we can do. The smallest ideas can turn into big dreams. Small moments like telling someone good job or helping with the dishes can make all the difference. One day, I was having a bad day. My older brother went to college and I missed him. When I went to school, one of my friends made a card for me. It was a small thing that changed my entire day. It made me want to do something kind too. So I made a card for my parents because I knew they were missing my brother too. Doing one small thing may not seem like a lot, but it can grow and grow. Everyone's small act matters. Remember, a forest starts with just one seed. Building a giant house starts with just one nail. In today's story, Jesus reminds us that small things can make a big difference. We get to help God's community grow bigger and bigger with love and kindness. No one is too young and no one is too old to be included in God's work. We get to put seeds of love into this world and watch them grow. Remember, even the smallest things matter. Now, it's time for you to wonder.
boys and girls, for our craft today, you should have received in my Sunday school packet something that looks like this. So I'm going to unpack it. We've got, first off, we have our mustard seed picture. And what I'm inviting you to do is to decorate this with getting your markers, your crayons, get some construction paper, maybe a glue stick, whatever you have in your craft materials, and decorate this to look like a tree. You could put some critters in there too, some birds, some squirrels, maybe some little animals down at the bottom. And if you'll notice down here at the bottom, there's a little spot to put a seed. And I did include a packet of mustard seeds. If you're older than 3, you got a packet of mustard seeds. And so you could glue one of those. Here's an example of one that I did. I drew my leaves up here. I put a little robin with the nest with 3 little blue eggs, and then I put my seed down there at the bottom. And so you could do that, or you could also cut out some leaf shapes and glue them. If you like to do collages and things like that, you could glue them on and add your animals and critters too. So get out your supplies and have fun with that one. And then the other thing was a bookmark. This has a tree on one side with the seed. You'll notice I colored that in there. And then on the other side, it has part of the Bible verse. And then I just put a little robin on the end of mine to match my picture. But you could draw whatever you want on there. I want to show you real quick how you add your piece of yarn to it. What I do is I take the 2 ends and I hold on to them until I get a little loop at the end. And what I want to do is poke that loop through the hole in the bookmark, just a little bit. You're going to pull it out a little bit. You're not going to let it come out all the way. And then what you want to do is take the 2 ends and stick them through that loop and just gently give it a tug. And that's how you put your yarn on there. And so then you can use your bookmark to mark your place in your Bible for today's verse, or maybe you're reading a book and you want to keep your place for something that you're reading at home. And then the last thing is I sent a couple snowman stickers out. I thought that that would be fun for us. We did get to see some snowflakes this week, so I don't think that anyone had enough to do a snowman, but we may get some more. All right, I hope you enjoy these projects. And now it's time for music with Mrs. Jackson.
Okay. Hi, boys and girls. Miss Jackson here. We're going to spend a little time this week doing 2 different things. We're going to finish learning the song that we've been working on the last 2 weeks because there's one line that we haven't focused on yet. So we'll learn that today. You'll know the whole song, and then there's something special at the end. Okay? So let's start with reviewing the first line. Let me give myself a pitch. We're going to start right here. Let's sing these first 2 lines. Do you remember how it goes? Here we go. Ready and sing. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. Did you get that? Let's try that again. Here we go. Ready, sing. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. Here's the second line. We need peace for the world. I brought the world in today. We need peace for the world and for the soul. Listen. We need peace for the world and for the soul. Are you ready with that? Here we go. Ready? Second line. And we need peace for the world and for the soul. Good. Now, do you remember what we do next? We go back to these first 2 lines and we sing them again. First time it starts a little higher this time, though. We're going to start on this note. Here we go. These 2 lines. Sing. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. And here we are at our very last line. Let's look at the words, or listen to the words. We need peace, make us one, make us whole. Keep us from being separate and apart. Let us be thinking as a group. So here's your last line, and here's how that goes. We need peace, make us one, make us whole. It's like 3 short little sections. Here we go, let's try it together. 2 and 3. We need peace, make us one, make us whole. Did you hear how that goes up all the way to the word one? It goes up and then back down. Here we go, this last line. Ready, and we need peace, make us one, make us whole. Okay, we're back with our old friend, the auto harp. Remember the sound on the auto harp made by strings vibrating? But we don't want all the strings to vibrate. We only want some of them, so that's why I push these little bars. And we're going to sing the whole song with the auto harp accompanying us. And there's your first note. Are you sitting like a singer? Or maybe you're even standing up straight and tall. Here we go. 1, 2, and sing. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. We need peace for the world and for the soul. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. We need peace. Make us one. Make us whole. I played a wrong chord on that last line. Ooh, it didn't sound good. So we're going to start and do the second half again. We need peace, inside, outside, skip to the last line. Are you ready so I can get my mistake corrected? Second half of the song, here we go. We need peace on the inside. We need peace on the outside. We need peace. Make us one. Make us whole. There you go. Very good. So, boys and girls, do you know that there's another much larger instrument whose sound is made by strings vibrating? Look at this. I'll bet a lot of you have a piano in your home. Some of you might have an electronic keyboard. The sound is not made the same way. So, we opened up the piano so you could see the inside of it. So, look, we've got strings that go from the top to the bottom. So you can see them here at the top. There we go. And then all the way to the bottom here. Which of these strings do you think makes the lower notes? The lowest notes? Of course, you already heard me play them. It's these right here, all the way down at the end. Notice how thick these strings are. So we go from low and up here. I can hardly reach these. Up to high. Way up at the top of the piano, up on the high note. I can play the piano with this pick, but you know that's not how the piano is played, right? So, how do we get a sound out of the piano? You see these right here? Do they look like anything that you might have seen in life? These are called hammers. So the hammer strikes the string, or notice there are multiple strings here that give you the same note. The hammer strikes the string, and that's how you get the pitch. So here we go. It hits it and bounces back right away. Whoops, sorry. And then when I let the key up, something comes in and touches the strings and makes the sound stop, makes the string stop vibrating and stops the sound of the string. So we play with the hammer. Now, if I touch the hammer gently, if I touch the key gently, it's going to make a softer sound. If I use more force on the key, it's going to make a louder sound. So if I play gently, it's going to make a softer sound. If I play with more force, it's going to make a louder sound. So that's how we get our dynamics, our change of louds and softs on the piano. We talked about where the low sounds come from and the high sounds. And I'm going to show you something on the piano today. Notice down here at the bottom, there are 3 pedals. We call these pedals. If I play the piano without pushing any of the pedals, as soon as I let up the key, the sound stops. That's because back here behind the hammer are other felted things that touch the strings to make them stop. So if I push this pedal, it's going to move that away from the strings. It's going to allow them to continue to play. Take my hands away and the sound continues. When I lift my foot, those felted things touch the strings and the strings stop vibrating. So let me play Chopsticks again without the pedal on. Now, if I put that pedal on and I let the strings just keep vibrating, lift it up. So the pedal does a really good thing. It lets the sound continue and it makes it smoother and more together. But we don't want it to play all the time. We don't want it up all the time because this is what you would get. Hear how that all runs together? So when we play the piano, we learn to use our hands and our foot at the same time to make it smooth and yet make it sound, make the song sound clean so you can hear what the actual tune is. Now, I'm going to stop here for just a minute. I'll be back with you in a second. So, boys and girls, I needed to stop and get a bench so I could sit down to play. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play the song that we were just learning, that we've just learned, so that you can see how it works on the piano. How my hands strike the keys and how the hammers strike the strings. I'm going to play it twice. I'm not going to sing. You can sing if you like, but you can sing and watch so you can see how the piano works. So I use some dynamics there too, some softs and some louds, so you can hear the piano playing both of those. So if you have a piano and you would like to explore the inside, make sure that you talk to your parents or someone at your house older than you first. And perhaps you can look at it. And if not, we'll spend a little more time with the piano another time during one of our lessons, during one of our sessions together. And so now you know a little bit about what happens inside when you can't see it. So I hope that makes some sense to you, and I hope you enjoyed looking at the piano today. I'll see you next time.